All right, driving culture forward. This is HYPEBEAST Radio. We're sitting here with David Casavant. And just for starters, David, go ahead and tell the people what it is that you exactly do.
I have no idea.
I mean, well, that's like a great place to start.
No idea what I do anymore. I don't know.
So how long have you been, I would say, like archiving clothes, I guess?
I started buying all these clothes when I was 14. And I don't know. Yeah, so I've always been buying, and then I've been working in fashion, though. Like, I started as a stylist assistant, so I've been working in fashion for like 8 or 9 years total, like actually in the industry now. And I started out as a stylist assistant, and then I sort of moved on to being more of a stylist, which I guess this all sort of goes along to, but then it became a thing where like people borrowed all the clothes from the archive and stuff, and so then that became a whole job in itself, and then sort of goes with my job as a stylist too, so it's all very intertwined and related, yet people, are still like, that's why I say I don't know what I do, because it's not very like, it hasn't caught up to whatever fashion is now to whatever I do. But to me, it makes total sense, because like I'll like, as a stylist, you sometimes like consult for like clients and help them on their collections and stuff, and it's like a perfect tool to already have all this to sort of have pieces to reference to say, oh, this is a good piece, we should sort of remake this part of it, or it has the right feeling. So I've already got all that, so I do like consulting for things, and then sometimes I do shoots, which I also feel like it goes with really well, because I don't just request clothes from like the new designer collections or something to style with. I also have all this to go with that, so it's a bit, to me it makes it a bit more interesting and real. And then I also just loan to other people's shoots that I believe in, or sometimes just make money off of renting it to like, other things. Oh, and like, celebrities will wear it or borrow it too, so that's cool. So I like just having a little touch in every sort of like thing going on is kind of fun, so I'm not so like literally a stylist and here is my work and I did all of this. I like the idea of, well, this piece kind of came from me, or maybe they came over and gotten kind of inspired by all this, so they went more in this direction. So I sort of, that's why I say I don't know what I do anymore, because it's moved to like a weird other direction that's much bigger than any like kind of small job or thing that already exists now. But I think that's what it's about nowadays, to not just be like like I used to do photography, but then I moved sort of into wanting to do more than just that and help create what's in front of the camera also before I take the picture, or sometimes I don't want to take the picture and I like other people's photography, so I like setting it up for them to then translate through the camera.
Yeah. So before you consider this a profession, like when did your first...
I still don't consider it a profession.
Oh.
I feel like I'm a like child playing pretend every day, and I don't know how it's made worked out.
This is like the ultimate closet for dress up, basically. It's
kinda, like but like it's moved beyond that now, and I don't even know what my life is anymore. It's just so stupid, like that this is an actual thing or whatever. But that's the point. I chose to go into something that's so stupid and not real, like whatever all this is, instead of like being a doctor that actually saves lives or something real like that. So it's all just playing the game of bullshit and, saying that you believe that. But to me, it also isn't that, because it can have such an effect on like, protesting the political climate and stuff like that. Fashion's such a fast, easy tool to do that. So to me, it's also much more where it can like affect change in society and people and stuff like that, rather than just, oh, here's a t-shirt we can make money on or something like that. Because I never thought it could be a money thing much. I mean, it still sort of isn't quite, even though it is, but that's not really the road I went down or something. So
you mentioned you've been buying stuff since you were like 14 years old. How did you kind of happen upon the conceptual menswear kind of thing? Was it like a product of the time?
because I had the internet and I've looked at fashion and I looked at those shows and I just liked the Ralph Simmons. I mean, it wasn't much of a thing then, menswear and fashion and stuff like that. It wasn't taken seriously at all or anything at the time. It was all about women's wear to the extreme. Except, I looked at what like Raph was doing and Helmut was doing and Eddie was doing, and they were all doing different things in menswear and taking it a bit more seriously and pushing it further and pushing the idea of how men look or what menswear is like or what could be considered high fashion menswear. They were all the ones pushing that boundary, and so that's why I caught on to that, and also it was pretty easy to buy through eBay and stuff because it was also during a time where it was such disposable fashion and stuff like that, where it was like, oh, this season it's over, so now it's useless and like sold for nothing when it was resold. So I was right there to to buy it for not very much, since people didn't cherish fashion in the way I think they do now, where it's not viewed as disposable as it was then. So that's how I was able to sort of get so much for so cheap at the time, because I wouldn't buy things new because it'd be too expensive. So I'd either wait for it to really, really go on sale, or you could just easily buy it used on eBay because it was just so cheap. People sold it for nothing. Like all of this kind of stuff, they sold it for nothing at the time.
And how much has it changed? I mean, like, the internet obviously has got 1,000 resources for secondhand fashion and stuff like that. Like, do you use Grailed?
I mean, I still buy stuff, but not as... I buy a bit differently now than I did. I sort of got all the main pieces I could want, all the most, like, kind of iconic pieces I could want from... sort of at least Ralph and Helmut. So I buy more in the direction I want to push fashion now. Like, so I buy for the future. I don't buy for what is already considered valuable now. So like, and I also feel like because I already did that and have it, so I don't really care to get more, I don't know, Ralph bomber jackets because I already made those a thing. So I'm more focused on the next and where it's going to go, rather than just being really museum curator about it and preserving some pieces that are already considered a thing.
And where do you see the trajectory of fashion going in the future?
Even more about simplicity and being able to be worn really easily and well and move with you and really show really kind of graphic and strong and less fussy and more sportswear oriented and more like workwear oriented and like really, really pared down, and like the fabrics more about kind of tech weird fabrics that maybe you can't like quite say like what it is. Maybe it looks like silk, but then you touch it and it's like nylon. It's like all kinds of things like that, and like more about how it's played with like the body, like what it shows on your body and what it doesn't, rather than just like cloth covering you or something. More thought out how it goes with the body and stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah, like I told you, I'm not good at paring it down to words, but it's sort of more that feeling and stuff where it's just very and easier and less. People are going to become more about having that one perfect jacket.
And so, I mean, we were talking earlier about that rack over there with literally mostly Carhartt and workwear, and you yourself, you don't really wear a whole lot of, you're very low key. So do you see it more as like a minimal thing? Like, do you wear a lot of the pieces in the archive on a day-to-day basis?
Not now. It's called being over it. Like, everyone's over it. Like, so that's what it's about, just being over it. It's like, and Raph became a thing as part of that, being over it, because that's sort of what his clothes are like. They're a bit rebellious and pared down and like,
Yeah, Yeah, so while, curating your archive, and you're also having, like, just not just the overall just scope of fashion of where you want to take, your archive and kind of like steer that in that direction, but also like picking out clothes, I guess, for your clients as well, just to get them, like, to, I guess, understand your vision as well. Like,
yeah.
With that being in mind, what do you have, like, what's a common type of recurring theme that you have a lot of clients come up to you and asking you for, and what do you find yourself, like, kind of steering them into the right direction of?
I don't do it based on that at all. If they come to me, they already know what it's about. I don't have to convince them. I don't buy based on people that are giving me money or anything like that, really. I buy based on what I think, and they just can either choose to come here and use the resource if, like, I agree to it and think it works for both of us and stuff like that, or not. I'm not gonna, like, I just, you know what I mean? If they're into, like this is, I'm not a buying service, so it's like, if they want something, they need to go find it themselves. But here is like one curated vision that they can take on if they want to or not. But yeah, I mean, I just buy for my viewpoint and how I see things and the direction I think fashion should go, and so that just brings the right people in naturally with that.
Yeah. What sort of criteria do you look for in a client? Is it taste? Is it?
I don't look for clients; they just come to me. But it's also like not even that. It sounds so like, what do you call it? Like planned out or whatever. It's not at all. It's all comes from, because I worked for years assisting in fashion, and all my friends were also assistants, and all my friends were stylists. So we all naturally are friends and get on and like the same thing, and they admire what I do and like what I do. So they are, all these people were already my friends before this already was, and already liked what I was doing. I get a bit of like outside people, but they get referred, or I have to sort of like their work and what they're doing and stuff like that. But it's all the same people I started with before this was even a thing. I like my main people were my main people before this, like client-wise and stuff like that. But like, so the celebrities, my friends were and are their like stylists or work for them. So that's where the celebrity thing comes from, because it's someone that I already knew before all this, or worked with and stuff like that before the celebrity even got involved. And the celebrity involvement, I like really limit it down to really few, and I have to sort of like be able to trust them, and they have to get it. They have to get that it's not, you can't take the pieces or try to buy them, and you have to return them, and that's what it's about. So they all have to have that understanding before I'll, loan to them. And it's not about me being like snobby and like looking down on a celebrity or something like that. It's because this is all bigger than them. This is bigger than me. This is a resource to keep and have for the future, for after I die, and everything, to stay together and stay intact so that people can always use it, for things. And it can always be a resource. It shouldn't be all over the world scattered because I can get a lot of money quickly for it, and because it has no power if it's scattered all over the world. The power is that it was all bought under the same vision, so it's like all together makes it stronger.
I also think it's more powerful that it's not behind glass. Like, I feel like you can just kind of come and try anything on. Right?
I hate this idea also that, it's a historic fashion piece, so let's preserve it, and let's do a Met show where it's all behind glass, and how fun is it to look at some stupid dress on a mannequin? It's like, no one cares. Like, that's not what fashion is. You have to try it on. You have to wear it. You have to give it context. You have to perform it. You have to shoot it. You have to give it new meanings. It's like, no one cares that it was shot in some stupid fancy photo forever ago, and that's the only reason it's important. It's like, it's more than that. That's disposable too. It's like, the piece was so great at this time, so let's just never use it again. It's like, it's just not what it's about. That's just making, it's no fun. It's like, what's the joy in that? The clothes have life. They want to be worn. They want to be used more. So they should be. They shouldn't just be trapped forever.
And you famously loan things out to musicians who probably wear these things on tour and wear them in music videos and stuff
But
like
that's
that.
well, you know, I've had my share of like idiots that, you know, have stolen something and that kind of crap. But for me, it's like if you go and perform in it and it, you know, gets a little dirty or rips while you're performing, to me, it's all the better. Like, that adds a whole new dimension to it, you know, because it's like if it got dirty in the performance, that's cool. It adds more to it. But, you know, I'm not into like, oh, I just lost it because I don't care. Like, that's not cool. But I'm totally fine with the risk of it just maybe getting a little damaged or something like that.
Yeah, and it sounds like you have like great aspirations. Where do you foresee like, you know, the end goal being?
Changing like the whole idea of what people think like fashion and how you design and what fashion is and what the meaning of clothes really are, all of that. I want it to change everyone's mind about that and like change how it's thought about, and like on a deeper level how we just think about anything or view people. It's such a thing, fashion, how it shows how you view other people. Like a lot of the reason I started loaning is because when I was assisting in fashion, there were all these like stupid rules when you would borrow clothes about, oh, it can't be on this person, or it's only on a model and it has to be shot full look, and we don't loan to them and we do loan to them. And it was all out of stupid, vapid, whatever reasons. And the biggest example of that is someone like Kim Kardashian, who came out and just turned all that on its head and showed all those stupid designers that went loan to her because they're like really one-dimensional and dumb, to then turn around and be like, oh, of course we dress Kim, you know, like, or like there's so many celebrities that have done that. But I just got so sick and fed up of that when I was working as like a stylist or stylist assistant, because I'd be like, this person's amazing, like why would you not want to dress them? You'd rather dress like this loser, like just because right now they're cool. And so I just and like also, I don't know, there's so many things that go into, and like with like rappers, if we want to go into like one category or something like that, like I always thought they were like the coolest people kind of, and I felt so much energy, like certain people in hip hop coming out and stuff like that. So I was like, they should be the ones wearing all this. They're the coolest people around right now, and people like wouldn't want to loan to them or want to dress them. And I was just like, I don't even want to go into the like stupid reasons they may have. It's all it is them like not even researching hard enough. So for me, it was fun to like be able to have that power to like be able to dress cool people and like give these clothes cool context like that. And that's why, you know, that's why they have any relevance at all anymore with young people, because getting in on like dressing like the right people or getting in the right context, which like I don't think a lot of these designers really did themselves. Like young people, the artists themselves, me wanting to loan to them, that's who made it happen and made it relevant, certain things relevant with our times now and young people and all that.
And so I was looking through one of the racks over in the other room, and mixed within all of the RAF, Helmut, all of these very upscale, you've got like things like Uniqlo button-downs. And
yeah,
what's like sort of like the most unlikely surprise of what people probably come in here for that isn't?
Well, one of the most pulled items is this LL Bean turtleneck I have.
I was just talking about like, you know, a point that you made about the power of celebrities, and more so, you know, rap musicians in terms of musicians these days. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on, like, you know, how is it working with Kanye West? I feel like he shares a common, you know, just ideal about fashion as well that you do too.
Yeah, definitely. But I guess it's like with me or with him, I don't really think of him as like whatever his like title is or something, like rapper or what. He's more just, I don't know, I kind of get him because it's more just like you just like being creative and making things and getting cool people to do things, and like it's that same kind of mindset. So that's more where he comes from. And I think he's sort of the same with me in a way, like where he's not. A lot of people are just like, oh, you're like a vintage store, so I come here like to rent a couple things, and that's what it is, or so. And he like knows it's something bigger than that, and like doesn't like downplay my skills or something like. And I guess vice versa, since a lot of people like to do that with people, you know, they like to sort of cast them off as one thing or something, rather than like looking at their whole mind and whole creative process and whole all the things they do. And I don't know. Yeah, but I just think he's just like one of the few people that actually tries to do something with the world, you know? Like, people are so complacent or whatever, and it's just like, that's why, just because people don't do enough outside themselves and stuff, and don't look at the world and think, how can I make a difference, and what can I do, and what small steps can I create, and how can I work with my friends and get other creative people involved. He is one of the few people that really does that. And in fashion, it's just been like so not that for a while. It's so insular and people sticking to themselves and their own set of what they do and whatever, and not just. Now is the time where it's like we should be like working together. Fashion needs to get over this hierarchy thing, like casting young people out, not validating other people's creativity just so that they can, you know, be the designer with the hottest like look and most followers on Instagram, and like with like whatever cool it girl of the moment. Like, that time is so gone. Get over it. Move on. Do something cool. Make a difference in the world, because otherwise, like, it's going to eat you up, and it's like already eating up anyone creative right now with, or anyone weird, anyone creative, anyone not the norm. It's already happening. Like, people need to work together. If you are in a creative field or creative yourself or whatever it is, like. And it's just like, quit outcasting young people because you're desperate to like hold on to your jobs and stuff like that. Like, if you want to stay relevant, maybe like listen to young people and stuff like that, or hang out with them, or look at what they're actually interested in, instead of just like downsizing it to like an Instagram model girl that you think is what they're into now. Like, it's so embarrassing and so stupid, and it's just showing more and more how like just sort of old people fucked up everything for young people right now. Seriously, like, so hard. It's so stupid.
Like, everything from the environment to fashion is
everything, or just like politics, or like being able to get education, or being able to just get a fucking job or anything. It's just, they fucked it up so hard for young people, so young people are just fucking over it and doing their own thing, and can communicate with each other easily through the internet and social media and everything, so they're just going to make their own cool things happen. They don't need like the old system to approve of it or anything like that, and they're going to make it happen. And all of this old generation that is just so complacent with everything, and is the ones that, because they sat back and let it happen, let the world be the way it is now, like, it's their fault. So that's why young people just don't give a fuck about them anymore, or how things were, or whatever, and are just going to do like their thing now. But anyways, back to Kanye. That's why I feel like he's like one of the few people that actually does something about all this, and he's not afraid to like get young creative people involved, or any creative people involved. It's just like he wants everyone to be working together and makes the best and something cool, and he's totally fine with leading that cause, and not in it to just like be cool or whatever it is. Like, it's just so, but it's just, yeah, it's just like these fashion brands that don't know why they're closing, or why no one's buying them, or why no one's looking at their magazines. It's like, maybe get outside your fucking fancy house and fancy setup, and like go hang out with like actual people that are struggling, or young people that are creative and trying to make it. Maybe get out of your stupid one-dimensional life and find out, and then your brand might have a chance of surviving.
Yeah, because there's kind of like a current disconnect right now, I feel like, between fashion brands and their consumers. I feel like in the past, it might have been okay for, I guess, timing wise for fashion brands to just wait for Fashion Week to make their statement. But now it's like every day is kind of like an opportunity to make a statement.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, we better get on Instagram now because that's what's cool with the kids. And then they get on it, and it's so embarrassing how they do their Instagram and stuff. It's like, this isn't cool at all. It just looks like some old person that said, oh, young people like Instagram now, so I'll do our Instagram exactly how we used to do fashion campaigns in 2007 because they worked then, and so they'll work now. Or like, oh, this magazine was cool when I was that age, so let's base it on that magazine now or something, and that will be what's cool. It's like, get out of your box and actually go find out what actually is happening with young people now, because like you just got so used to all the money you got and stuff like that you didn't bother to actually be in this for the art of it and for the love of it. Like, you just got eaten up by the like the hierarchy of it and all that, like, and the elitism. You felt like you were on top and you were dictating, and now you're finding out you're really not, and so you're just like trying to hang on, but you're not willing to be open-minded to find out what actually is up.
I think what's interesting is that you sound really frustrated by the entire system
because
of it.
I've had to fucking go.
Yeah.
Like, I've been interning since what, 2009. I've been through, like, The Devil Wears Prada looks like comfortable compared to like what I had to go through. Like, I remember watching that and I was like, what is she complaining about? She's getting paid. Like, I remember doing worse than her and like dying basically, and like, not, she got like a car to drive her to go like do all this, and like got, you know what I mean? So I remember watching that and being like, what is she complaining about, or something, like, you know. But it like is so that, and fashion was so that, and they're so stuck in their what they were, and it's just like, but the worst part is they all started out like sort of in the 90s making their own sort of way and stuff at that time. That's why, you know, that's sort of how they got their start, I guess you could say, about older generation in fashion now. But they just like, they don't care anymore, and they're also not willing to give up what they have so that someone that actually cares, that's maybe younger, can take over and actually, you know, make it good.
Do you think that it's important then that these, you know, fashion houses do like bring on up and coming designers or new creatives in order to, like, you know, change their current voice, I guess, in fashion?
Yeah, but I think they need to do it in a less trendy way, because it's also awful right now how it's so cool to just get a designer for a couple seasons, then they're out, and then another one's in, and then whatever. It's just like, that's also pathetic and shows you have no backbone. And it's like, stand for something. All these places just need to stand for something. If you're going to stand for something, it's going to stick, and it's going to like make an effect. But they are too scared to stand for anything because they're just looking at their numbers or something like that, and they're not taking a step back and realizing the big picture of all this, that, you know, that now's the time more than ever where you need to have like a vision that you stand for. Like,
do you think that you could ever step back into like the fashion industry as a whole and kind of like help from within, or do you like the fact that you've kind of built this for yourself and you're without it now?
I don't have any clue where I am, but I don't think I'm not in the fashion industry, but then plenty of times I find out people want to make me feel like I'm not, and then other times I feel like I'm sort of making what is going to be the fashion industry. So I don't know, I always just say, I do what I do, this is what it is, and let's see where it goes from that, you know? Like, I do a lot, and like, all my friends are more like in the art world, and I do a lot with art too, so I don't know, I didn't say like, I'm in the art world or something, but it sort of is a piece that came with what I do, so you know what I mean? It's like, I'm just not going to define whatever it is, it's just going to be what it is, and let's see what effect it has. But I've already seen the effect of it in fashion. You know, people, it's just like, you know, I can show you the runway shows, show you the pieces, show you the things people wear now, show you the clothes made now. I can show you exactly where it came from and how that came from here, and like because I've been sitting doing this for like more than 10 years. And like, so, you know, I saw people weren't interested in all this stuff before. And like, I saw when they started to be interested in it, and this stuff had started to have an effect on it. So I can draw the line to how things happen, you know, based on like a lot of the stuff here, the shoot it got loaned onto, or like the designer that borrowed it, or like the people that are looking at it, or the people that have been here and then go make clothes that it looks like all the stuff from this archive. Like, it's like, you know, but I don't think anyone's like, you know, didn't, you know, it's just like people, it's hard to deny. It's like, but I mean, I know what it is. A lot of people know what it is. A lot of people know what it is, but try to like still like pretend like, I don't know, sort of push me down or ignore me or whatever. I don't know. But I don't know. Yeah, it's like I'm so over it. In a nutshell, I'm pissed off and over it. But that's where it all comes from, you know. I used to collect all this because I was pissed off, and I started loaning it all because I was pissed off. And so that's where making change in the world and trying to make things good and good things for the world, it comes from being pissed off, and I'm pissed off. So you know, it makes me just want to go that much harder.
Do you ever think you'll take like, you know, this creativity that's kind of inspired by this anger that you have to like, you know, design like your own label, to design your own label?
I consider I've already designed my own label, and this is it. Like, maybe this is like what modern couture kind of is. You know what I mean? It's like ready to wear maybe is all these pieces that derive from this, but this is all the original thing, and maybe what couture is now, because these pieces have gone up in such crazy value that a lot of them are more expensive than if you went and bought Chanel couture off the runway now. So it's like, maybe that's what couture is now, and I think the way people are designing now is just like, you know, doing a collaboration with this brand. They're not really designing, they're sort of picking and choosing like brands to associate with or things to remake really literally. You know, it's not much of design going on. It's very whatever. So I sort of like, maybe design isn't what design is anymore, and maybe this is what design is now. So I think in a way, like I've been asked that before, and I'm always like, yeah, I could design stuff because I went to school sort of for it, but I never wanted to because I already think in a way like I don't want to design because I consider these the right pieces. Like, so I don't need to do it. So I think in a way maybe I am a designer because I curate all these in a specific way that show a vision or something like that. And I feel like making clothes, that's all you do, try to make something to show a vision. So if I don't even need to make the clothes, they're already made, I already feel like they're right, then I don't feel like I really need to make my own separate designs. I don't know if that's really what I'm about. But I feel like maybe I sort of already do that.
I have a simple question, but I don't know if it might be stupid, but have you ever met Raph? Have you ever met Helmut?
Yeah, I know him.
Oh, wow. How was that?
I mean, we're not like, you know, watching
Game of Thrones
TV
together.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I know him like professionally because I've like, you know, they sometimes like they needed to borrow like a parka for a exhibit they were part of and stuff like that, because that's the other thing. I saw these people didn't keep their own archive. Like Helmut doesn't have their own archive. Raph, I think, has a bit. I don't really know, but I know they don't have everything or something. So, but yeah, I mean,
was that surreal? Was that like kind of a crazy moment when they reached out to you and they're kind of like, "Hey, man"?
No, nothing's crazy to me anymore because I just gave up on anything being weird anymore because everything is weird. So it's like, you know, I don't know, the Queen could walk in right now and I wouldn't be fazed because it's just all weird. It's just, everything's just so surreal already. Like all of this, like, you know what I mean? I remember when I was a teenager, like when I got asked what I want to do or something like that, I said, I don't know, but if I could just be surrounded by clothes every day, that's what I'd want to do. And it happened, you know. I was able to sort of make a career just being surrounded by clothes, and that's what I love, you know, and I love sculpting with clothes and everything. So the fact that that happened, and, you know, I don't know, meeting Raf, I sort of separate people from their work because it's kind of a dangerous, it's just not looking at someone one-dimensionally. I don't know Raf, so when I meet him, that's me meeting someone I don't know for the first time. I don't project of what I think he is onto him, because I don't like when people do that to me, because I get projected like that I'm a one-dimensional character that whatever you could think I am, and I'm like, okay, cool, so am I supposed to act now? Am I like, should I act like that or whatever? Is this person you were already projecting that you already know me because of all this or something? So I stopped doing that a while ago, because I don't know, when you start to get to know more people or work with famous people or whatever, like, because when I was assisting, I worked with a ton of celebrities and stuff like that, so you know, you get used to it and know how to view people and act around people, because we're all just fucking people at the end of the day. It's not like anyone's really
a superhuman. Yeah,
no one's fucking superhuman. Everyone's a mess, or everyone's just like a normal whatever. And you know, if someone does something extreme, like Raf making clothes, that's just like a weird extreme part of his mind that's overactive that he had to get out and made those clothes. But there's obviously so many other parts to him where he just
regular human being.
There used to be so many extreme people in fashion, and if you want to be as literal as like people that would dress crazy, or like just like characters, or like people that would influence in such a crazy way. But right now it's like everyone's too afraid to be weird. They just want to like have a cool Instagram profile. You know, that's why you have to be the world you want. So it's up to us to make it, and it's up to me to try to support these weird people that I believe in, that should be around in fashion and should be here influencing and being like a cool person to look at, and if using these tools to keep that weirdness out there. And my friends that aren't really famous people or anything, just like artists that I really believe in their work and them, and the world doesn't offer them as much opportunities and stuff as it should. So I like to do whatever I can to try to bring them along on the ride, kind of. Or like even just like celebrities that are, I don't dismiss or not want to do someone just because they're a celebrity. If I like what they're doing and it's kind of weird in their own way, yet they're kind of a generic celebrity, that's even more amazing. Or something like Kim, you know, she's up for anything. That's what I love. So even though she's sort of so like, I guess people would kind of try to say she's generic or something, but she's not. She really like created her own thing and look and everything like that. So I love anyone that does that, you know. I love sort of the first of something. So that's sort of what, and she's also just so game. She, you know, she doesn't have any apprehension about like doing her thing, which is cool, and I admire.
Yeah, so I was going to say, you know, usually we end our episodes with asking our guests to offer some advice for up-and-coming creatives themselves on how to, you know, basically do what they do. I think this episode, like, you know, would do it more justice if we could ask you to give, you know, our audience some advice on how to break the confinements of being labeled just one thing.
I think, first of all, like, I want to make it clear that you have to, like, you should work really, really, really hard and, like sort of keep your head down and just learn. Because, like, I've had kids that, like, I wanted to maybe, like, feature in a shoot or like, get involved in a project, and it sort of just didn't work out because maybe the client or something like that. And, like, when I say, like, you know, sorry, it didn't work out this time, but, you know, at least I know, you know, like, I've had one's reaction who are like, they don't even know, you know, who I am. I'm the best, and I want to see who they use instead, and whatever. It's just like, okay, shut up, you're 18, like, chill. Like, that's gonna get you nowhere talking like that. And I'm sort of like saying fuck it now or whatever, but I didn't at all when I was young, and I, like, worked really hard, and all I wanted to do was be involved with these people whose work I liked, who I admired, who I loved working for, and I didn't say a thing. Like, I was just quiet and had my eyes open, my ears open, on set, doing anything they needed, trying to get whatever they needed, never complaining, never being sick, never missing a day, always like trying my best, just wanting to be there, just like wanting them to ask me back to be there so I could just stay there to try to learn more. And it's so important to do that when you're young and you're starting out, because it really does sort of take kind of 10 years to really know your craft that you're doing. So if you're just starting, like, you really need to learn, and you don't need to be too above anything, and you don't need to say, oh, this thing is lame or something like that. Just learn whatever you can from anything. And if you're doing something where you feel like it's not the right thing or whatever, if it's really, really what you love and you go home at night and you still keep learning about it or researching or whatever, then you're in the right thing, and just keep working past what you hate doing about it, because you have to do a lot of shit that you hate in order to eventually get to the day where you can stand on your own 2 feet and only do what you love. But saying that, I still fucking like lug 25 duffel bags full of clothes back and forth to LA all the time, like shoving them in my elevator, like with my assistant or something. Like, I'm not above anything. Like, I will like lug anything, I will clean up anything, I will do anything. I'm not above any kind of thing. Like, I'm still not. And that's where it comes from. You just, if you care enough about it, you keep doing it. You don't let anyone, you don't let getting fired somewhere, you don't let being told to do like some task you hate. I mean, like, you know, don't be like, if you feel like, you know, it's going outside work territory in a bad place, that's a different thing, maybe, you know. But I'm talking about just like working in general. Just love it and do it and learn. And while you're doing it, don't talk. Don't try to say you know better than the person you're working for. Just listen and watch, and you'll like one day definitely be better than that person and be further along than that person. But learn from them while you can. So I think like, you know, people are like, oh, Instagram, you can do anything on it, whatever. It's like, okay, yeah, so you use Instagram. People like want, if you make hats or something, everyone wants it or whatever. But then what? You know, like, you need to look at it as not like wanting to just like, oh, I made it. You want to have a career for life. So I don't look at any one thing as, oh, I made it. Like, I want to be doing this for the rest of my life. So I don't fool myself thinking that like any of this is like me making it or something like that, because I have more I want to do, and I'm not just like a one-time thing. This is like more meaningful than that. So I'm not going to like get you know, too comfortable or like think I'm more than I am or something like that. But at the same time, you know, I am being a bit like of a brat right now in this interview and stuff. But it's the reason I am is because I have all these people I see and all these friends that deserve better. And I feel like if I can like say what's up for them, what they're all thinking, what they all want, and what like is needed now, then I just can't hold back saying that. And it's not about me like being like, I need more or whatever. You know, I think a lot of people deserve more right now. And so I just want to like get the conversation started so we can move in a more positive direction for everyone, you know, for, like I said, young people, creative people, all that, you know. There's so many voices that should have a microphone on them right now that don't. And it's because of people like knowing that they should have a microphone and having the ability to give it to them, but just not, out of like being too scared or like trying to stick to the system or whatever. So, you know, anyways, keep working hard, young people. and just find what you love doing and keep doing it. And don't love it because your favorite celebrity likes it or is doing it. Like, that's whatever. I mean, you can sort of do that, but love it because you can look at, like, with fashion, I can look at like stuff in the early 1900s and just want to learn about it, or like stuff in the 80s and want to learn about it. There's no like, I only love RAF and that's all I love about fashion. I learn about everything about fashion, and that's why I know like the path it's taking and stuff like that, because I wanted to learn everything about it, not just, you know, cool RAF stuff or whatever, you know.
That's awesome, man. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you for inviting us into your home. This is really...
Thanks for letting me rant.
No, man. I think like one of the things that actually we appreciate is that, like you're saying, there are a lot of people...
Honesty. Not enough people are just being honest right now.
Right, and the whatever
what
the
are we
opposite
scared of? Just be honest.
Yeah,
you know?
whatever the opposite of apathy is. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You sound pissed off, but you definitely have a reason to be pissed off.
Yeah, but it's just, I mean... You know, I feel it too, but it's more about everyone does. So let's just talk about it and let's work together and let's move forward and let's make things happen and let's make the world better and just let's stop it right now before it gets worse and all work together to like turn it around and make it what we all actually want the world to be like.
Perfect. I think that's...
Starting with fashion.
Perfect. I think that's a perfect point to end on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.